Commentary on Zechariah Chapter 11, KJV. Zechariah 11 is a powerful and enigmatic chapter that blends prophetic imagery, divine judgment, and messianic undertones. It can be divided into three main sections: the destruction of Israel's leaders, the rejection of the Good Shepherd, and the rise of a foolish shepherd. This chapter is often seen as a prophecy of Israel's rejection of the Messiah and its consequences. Verses 1-3, Judgment on the land. Open thy doors, O Lebanon, that the fire may devour thy cedars. These opening verses are a poetic depiction of devastation. The doors of Lebanon and the cedars symbolize strength, pride, and the leadership of the nation. The call for fire to consume the cedars implies judgment and destruction, possibly alluding to the fall of Jerusalem or broader calamities affecting Israel. The wailing of shepherds and lions reflects the sorrow and loss caused by the downfall of those entrusted with leadership and protection. Verses 4-14, the Good Shepherd and his rejection. Here, Zechariah is instructed by God to take on the role of a shepherd, symbolizing the Messiah's ministry to Israel. The passage highlights the rejection of the shepherd's care and the consequences of that rejection. Verses 4-6. Feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them. These verses describe a tragic scene of oppression and exploitation, where the leaders, shepherds, exploit their people for personal gain. God declares that he will no longer pity the inhabitants of the land, signaling that judgment is imminent. This rejection may reflect the historical context of corrupt leadership during Zechariah's time and points forward to the rejection of Christ. Verses 7-11. And I took unto me two staves, the one I called beauty, and the other I called bands. The two staves symbolize the dual aspects of God's covenant relationship with his people: beauty, grace and favor, and bands, unity and fellowship. The breaking of these staves represents the dissolution of God's covenant and the unity of Israel, foreshadowing the division and scattering of the people after rejecting the Messiah. Verses 12-13. And I said unto them, If ye think good, give me my price, and if not, forbear. So they weighed for my price 30 pieces of silver. This prophetic act directly points to Judas Iscariot's betrayal of Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, Matthew 26:15. The throwing of the silver to the potter in the house of the Lord reflects the fulfillment of this prophecy in Matthew 27:3-10, where the betrayal money was used to buy a potter's field. Verses 15-17, the foolish shepherd. Lo, I will raise up a shepherd in the land, which shall not visit those that be cut off. The chapter ends with a stark contrast to the Good Shepherd. The foolish shepherd symbolizes a leader who fails to care for the flock and exploits them instead. This figure is often interpreted as a type of Antichrist or any corrupt leader who arises in opposition to God's purposes. The pronouncement of woe upon this shepherd indicates divine judgment against such unrighteous leadership. Themes and applications. 1. The responsibility of leaders. The chapter critiques leaders who exploit their people rather than care for them, reminding us of the divine accountability of those in authority. 2. Rejection of the Messiah. Zechariah 11 vividly portrays the rejection of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, and the tragic consequences of that rejection for Israel. 3. Judgment and redemption. The breaking of the staves and the rise of the foolish shepherd underscore the consequences of disobedience and the eventual restoration of God's people through his ultimate plan. 4. God's sovereign plan. Even in judgment, this chapter shows God's control over history, as he foretells specific events that unfold in the New Testament. Conclusion. Zechariah 11 is a sobering and prophetic chapter that weaves together themes of judgment, leadership, rejection, and redemption. Its messianic imagery, particularly regarding the Good Shepherd, provides a profound link between the Old and New Testaments, calling readers to reflect on the significance of Christ's ministry and the cost of rejecting God's provision.